I get asked all the time if I have permanent eyeliner tattooed to my bottom waterline, and no, I don't. The reason that sometimes you will see like a lot of black down here is because the day before I was wearing a smoky eye or I was wearing black liner on my inner waterline, and then at night I purposely don't scrub my lower lash line too hard to leave a little bit of that eyeliner right there in my lashes. That way the following day I don't have to do as much work on my lower lash line, if that makes sense. Tricky.
Of blends in and matches the rest of my face. We don't just have like this beak chilling right there in the center. I'm gonna take that same bronzer, I'm gonna put it underneath my lower lip, bring it all the way over to the edge. This is just gonna help your lower lip to look much fuller and poutier. When we apply the lipstick, you really won't even notice it. It's just gonna create a shadow.
Foundation brush, like the one that you swirl around.
Yes, I've been telling you forever. The reason I don't use foundation brushes anymore like I used to is because I think that it can take the product sometimes and just smear it around the skin, whereas a beauty sponge always presses it in. And I think that sometimes when you're working with a synthetic facial brush to apply it, it can actually like soak up some of your product and not really disperse it on the skin. Where this, as weird as it is, you think like it's a sponge, it's gonna soak up your product. That's why you dampen it, because once you dampen it, it's full and it's damp. So anything that goes on there is gonna go right back onto you. And that's why I think that this gives such a prettier look, overall more natural and better coverage than an actual brush. Did I answer your question? So the first, and I personally think the most important step in prepping your skin for a flawless base is what comes before you ever even touch your makeup on your skin, which is your skincare routine and your exfoliation process. Your makeup is only gonna look as good as what's underneath. And I hate to say that, and it sucks ass because it's the cold hard truth, but even if you have acneic skin, even if you're extremely oily, even if you're extremely dry, you still have to make sure that you're prepping your skin to the best that you possibly can, because there's nothing worse than trying to apply a powder product, a cream product, a liquid product, it doesn't matter what it is, to dry, flaky, patchy skin. So just make sure that you're drinking lots of water, using your serums, using your moisturizers, and exfoliating as often as possible. Everybody's skin is different, so I'm not gonna recommend how many times a week that you should personally be exfoliating, but I personally exfoliate my skin 4 days a week. That's what works best for me. That's what keeps my skin nice and smooth. It keeps my tone looking pretty well. It keeps away the texture and the bumps. I really need to drink water. I am not hydrated right now. I need to practice what I preach and get it together. So first thing first is I'm gonna prep my skin. This is so damn important. And if you are an OG subscriber of mine, you're probably laughing, as we all do, because I used to not believe in primers and I used to sit around and just be like, oh my God, primers are so stupid. I think it's such a gimmick. But now I am all about primers. But I have to say, not necessarily something that's sold in a bottle that says face primer. I'm just about prepping the skin. So even if that means spraying on some Fix Plus on the skin or using a really great serum or a great moisturizer, there's all different ways of prepping the skin. Just make sure that your skin has a little bit of tackiness to it, or if you're oily, you're gonna wanna put on something for oil prevention before going in with your foundation. Just make sure that it lasts the longest and it's gonna not cake up and it's not gonna crack throughout the day. Okay, so pro tip, let your concealer sit as long as you can. Okay, that's dramatic, like you don't want it to sit there for like 10 or 15 minutes, but if you have the time, letting your concealer sit like this for a minute, 2 or 3 minutes, it's just going to help it dry down a little bit. So when you blend it out, you're gonna get more coverage, more bang for its buck. And honestly, in my opinion, I've never seen anyone else say this, but it's not gonna crease as easily in your fine lines and wrinkles. If I apply this concealer and immediately blend it out, I have to do 2 or 3 layers. But if I let it sit for a couple of minutes and dry, I get so much more coverage. So at this point, sounds silly, but do not skip this step. Moisturize your lips, okay? This is something that I've actually really realized just in the last year of my life, is if you have like a thick amount of lip moisturizer on as you're doing your makeup, when you get to your actual lip application, it's gonna go on so smooth and it's not gonna crack, you're not gonna get like that white gunk because your lips are gonna be so moisturized, okay? So do that now so that when we get to lips in a little bit, they're good to go and your lip will look so much better and last longer throughout the day. And waiting on you. Lunchtime, you wanna like touch up real quick. Touching up your makeup is actually a lot easier than a lot of people think. And all you need is a setting spray, your damp beauty sponge. You can use any setting spray, honestly. You can use the Morphe continuous setting sprays, that's what I used earlier. Or you can take like a little compact guy with you like this. This is the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. If you're really dry, I would suggest something like this. All you're gonna do is spray it directly on your sponge. Get a little on there, make sure it's not soaked. I always kind of like press it on my hand first and then just go in and tap it over your face. Tap it over the under eye, tap it over the chin, tap it over anything, and it will get any additional product that's like sitting in any creases, if you're starting to look cakey whatsoever, or if things are even fading away. You can do this and then go in and apply a little bit more powder over top. But just going in with a damp sponge and a little setting spray just brings the face back to life. I almost feel like my makeup looks better like 4 or 5 hours later once I do a touch up. There's something about like when it's perfectly fresh that's not like, it looks good, but for some reason it looks better like a couple hours in. Once you do a touch up, then you're like, oh, there it is. Like there she is. Like life comes back to the skin. And honestly, it's this trick. It's doing the setting spray, the sponge, and then if you need to add a little bit more powder, highlight, blush, whatever you do, that would be your time to do. So something that I always do after I set my face and I'm about to go in with my bronzer or contour, I always kind of feel this area, because if this area, see this side is still a little sticky right here. So I'm gonna go back in with just a little bit more, tap that off, a little bit more, just right there in that specific area, because if I go in with a big brush and bronzer or contour and try to blend out a powder and it's still sticky, it's gonna be choppy. So just to make sure that it blends just like beautifully and evenly, it's making sure that those areas aren't sticky, you'll be good to go. So on the line that I created, and I've talked about this before, but honestly, you do not need like sticks like this to do this method at all. Honestly, you can go to the drugstore, pick up one of your favorite foundations. I would suggest something kind of on the more matte to natural side, like the original L'Oreal True Match. Just get that in a darker shade than your skin. Get it like 4 or 5 shades darker. Take a drop of it and just boop, 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 dot it on your face and just go ahead and blend it out and you will get the exact same outcome. You do not need like a stick foundation. You do not need a crayon like this. You can honestly just get a foundation a couple shades darker and it will do the trick. All right, I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna draw some lines up on my forehead. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a line on the cheek, okay? A lot of mistakes that I see still made commonly, which is okay if you're making this mistake, easy fix, is you are thinking, oh, it's a contour. You're thinking you wanna put it down here, right? Especially because it's cream, you're gonna place it on the skin higher than you actually think because you're gonna blend it down and blend it in. And you do not want your contour in this area. You want this area to stay the color of your skin because you want it to stay light and white to give you that chiseled effect, okay? So put that contour higher than you would actually think on the face. Ruffle. All right, here's a tip though. I do not like the clear band on Kiss lashes personally, all right? I just don't think it looks good once it's on the eye. So what I do is I go in with an eyeliner. This is the One Size liquid eyeliner, one of the best liners out there. When I open up the pack, I paint every single one of the lashes. Let me focus it so you can see it. Hello, see? Like I literally just painted it with the liquid liner. That way the band is now black. And when you put it on, it's just looks so much better. Take a little bit of the Lit Cosmetics Clear Liquid Glitter Base. This is something that every glitter lover needs in their collection. It's so incredible. I just take it and I drop a little bit of it into the cap like that. I take the exact same brush I've been working with the entire time, kind of get it a little wet in there. And I'm just gonna take that wet brush and then just dab on the lid. I don't want it to be too soaked though, otherwise it may make the makeup crease a little bit, but oh my gosh, sorry, I get so excited over bronze eyes, I can't take it. Okay, I'm gonna look down, let that get a little tacky, and then I'm going to just take same brush, dip into the glitter right there that's in the cap of the pigment, and then just lightly add a little something, something. Oh yes, absolutely. Overline just the center as much as possible and keep the sides normal and natural. It will give your mouth such a pouty, girly, feminine look as opposed to overlining all the way over here. Overline just the center, just the Cupid's bow, and it'll just make it so like, you know what I mean? If you guys haven't had a course in how to put on false lashes in a while, follow my lead. Look down, not here, not here, down. Look literally down into a mirror, especially a magnified mirror. And I'm telling you, game changer. It is so easy to do it like this. Like even me, I've put on lashes, I can't even tell you how many thousands of times in my life at this point. That's dramatic, hundreds. But if I'm looking straight forward like this, I can't put them on. Like I have to look straight down because it's just so easy. And then once you have them on, you can see looking down, that's when I will then look more like straight on like this and make sure that like everything is looking cute. And I kind of just babysit the lash for like the next 30 seconds. Make sure nothing pops off or acts wonky. But God, isn't this lash good?
Thing is, first, you want to start off with a completely bare face, of course, and cleansed skin. I always recommend to do your makeup within 30 minutes of cleansing and moisturizing, because if you do it immediately after you cleanse and moisturize, sometimes the foundation and the makeup can kind of slip and slide because your skin still hasn't absorbed the moisturizer. If you wait too long, sometimes the makeup can tend to not lay as nice and not last as long because your skin isn't freshly clean. So I usually like to do my makeup about 30 minutes after I cleanse and moisturize because I think that we get the best results doing it that way.
Like my forehead, that shit's too shiny. I know that like we love the dew, but it's not flattering, you guys. I get it, we love that Hailey Bieber glow. Like we want that super dewy look, but like for some of us, it's not pretty. For some of us, it's aging us. For some of us, it's emphasizing texture. It's emphasizing wrinkles and fine lines and age spots. So we've got to start going back to doing what works for us as individuals and not following makeup trends. I love a good makeup trend when it comes to like eyeliner. You know what I'm saying? Blush, lashes,
But when it comes to complexion, why are there makeup trends? I do not get it. You need to do what works for your skin tone, your skin texture, and your complexion.